The US ambassador to India, Eric Garcetti, said India will have to decide if it wants to join NATO Plus or not. During an interview with YN TV, the ambassador said India is one of the most important allies of the US, and the ties between the two countries are growing stronger and quickly. Garcetti pointed out that the two countries had, among other things, worked together more on defense, which wasn't possible 30 to 40 years ago. The ambassador brought up the fact that the US is getting closer to India more than its closest friends. He emphasized that the two countries are working together to make equipment and that there is a chance that India could get important weapon systems and tools to keep the country safe. On May 24, the US Congressional Select Committee on Strategic Competition between the US and China released a proposal in favor of India joining the NATO Plus. The White House said on May 20th that the Indian Prime Minister would be coming to the US on June 22nd. The US government said that the Indian Prime Minister was going to meet President Joe Biden to talk with him on the issues that affect both the countries. The US media says India is one of the countries that makes it hard for the US to deal with the war in Ukraine. Now, let's understand what is NATO Plus. NATO Plus, also called NATO Plus 5, is a security agreement between NATO and 5 other countries, including Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Israel, and South Korea. The goal of this agreement is to make it easier for countries around the world to work together on defense. In 2019, a US Congressional Committee suggested adding India to the 5 member NATO Plus group to make it stronger. What are the advantages for India from NATO Plus? India will have a smooth access to NATO Plus intelligence sharing. The country can access the up-to-date combat technologies fairly faster than the current processes which are now followed by India and US. India's defense relationship with the US will grow even more stronger. Now, how will the US and NATO gain from India in NATO Plus? The cooperation with important allies, including India in the Indo-Pacific area, will help US and NATO. They will have better protection against China and other possible enemies in the region. US and NATO will have access to Indian military sites and facilities. What are the drawbacks for India joining NATO Plus? NATO Plus is fairly new, so it's still too early to tell how it will work to improve global defense cooperation. But India and other countries stand to gain from joining NATO Plus. On the other hand, we have seen the NATO members are always squabbling, and India will lose operational flexibilities against Pakistan and China. India will also lose a long time tried and tested friend, Russia, which India cannot afford to lose right now. Within NATO, India will not have much say as it is visible in the case of Turkey, which is now at odds with the US and NATO, as it wants to follow more independent foreign policy based on its regional realities.